goes.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to Acrisure Stadium. He's Chris Halicke. He's Greg Macafee. I'm Dejan Kovacevic. We're from DK Pittsburgh Sports, and the Steelers are 3-0 after beating the Chargers and beating them.
Could have been 27, not 20, but that's a win.
Yeah. Beating them up is the. I wasn't even going for the score.
I mean, when Najee said it was, a 15-round fight, it was a 15-round fight today.
Yeah, there's no question that they went at the Chargers, and they went at them with the same approach that they took in Atlanta, that they took in Denver, and now, Chris, here they are again. First quarter looks like, second quarter looks a little bit better. Third quarter, whoa, there's something going here. Fourth quarter, boom!
What's hilarious is I kind of joked when we were doing our live file that we do during games about, maybe they just are doing this whole, we're going to do, the 2-yard, then the 3-yard, then the 2-yard, then the 3-yard, and maybe lose a yard here and lose a yard there, but then in the fourth quarter, 8 yards, 12 yards, 10 yards. And that's exactly what happened, and all the players were talking about, how the defense was just standing there with their hands on their hips, and Justin Fields was saying, the guys joked near the end of the first half that the defense joked about not getting that final playoff before the 2-minute warning. Yeah. Thanks for giving us a break.
Appreciate y'all.
they beat the crap out of them today.
Yeah,
that's what they did.
And Greg, the formula that seems to be showing up for this offense more than anything else is we'll get you, but we're eventually going to get to other stuff too. We're going to wear you down. And the main feature of this one clearly was going over the middle, and not just Cal's still running down there, by the way.
I mean, it was
not just the Cal touchdown.
It was Freiermuth, it was George Pickens, and obviously the biggest one of the day was Calvin Austin for his 55-yard score. He raced away from the secondary on the way into the end zone.
Well, actually, no. I had to tease Cal. Who's that 22? This is the only other team's catching you. What's that all about? Nobody's supposed to be able to catch him. In fact, isn't that even his Twitter handle or something? Isn't it can't catch Cal?
Maybe.
22's he can. Only he was already in the end zone. I'm just teasing here. It seems to be working offensively. I'm going to ask both of you guys. You can't change quarterbacks. You can't.
25 of 32, 245 yards.
You can't change quarterbacks.
I mean, almost 8 yards per attempt, a touchdown, ran for another one. The one interception, probably shouldn't have forced it. Justin took responsibility for it.
Oh, you're not pinning that on him.
I'm not.
I know
really.
You didn't like the judgment, but Najee's got to swat that away.
Oh, I agree. It was one of those ones where it's just you probably shouldn't force it. Was it worthy of a pick? I mean, no, but either way.
It's fair. It's fair.
But just overall, this is the most confident I've seen Justin Fields look in his entire career.
And you know what? Pat Freiermuth referenced Fields' confidence. Yeah. He just said you can feel it when you're out there. That and the results and the 3-0, you can't.
No,
you can't.
I mean, he completed 10 of it. I mean, it didn't look great early on, but he completed 10 of his first 10 passes. And as the game carried on,
I didn't even realize that, really?
Yeah. He completed his first 10 passes. I think him and Herbert combined for 20 of 21 their first 10 passes, or their first, to start the game. But as the game carried on, you could see his confidence growing. He was starting to hit receivers in rhythm, and they were starting to, obviously pick up yards, down the field.
So I got a funny story for you guys. So I'm talking to Cal about the touchdown, right? And I'm saying because they had a player behind Cal, and they had a linebacker coming in front of Cal, and somehow George had something to do with it. You guys can help me out with that one here. If you had a chance to look at the film, I haven't. But that was the way it was being described to me. And I said, so that's a great read by you, right, Cal? And he goes, that's a great read by the quarterback. So I go over to the quarterback who's on the other side of the room, and I go, hey, to Fields, I was told you can't read defenses. he goes, yeah, how about that, huh?
No, Justin actually kind of broke down the play a little bit. Just said that they're in zone coverage, and so you're looking at that particular defender. If he plays shallow, then you go over the top. If he drops back, then you hit the guy underneath. It's just reading what the defender's doing. That's what you have to do in zone
coverage. What did George have to do with it? Again, I haven't seen the film. I'm just going off of what Cal said. And apparently it was a pretty big deal that George was – the way it was explained, is that George they were all over George, or they were trying to be all over George. So what Arthur Smith wanted to do was to use that against them.
Yeah.
Okay, by bunching up defenders in a certain area and throwing to the one guy that they weren't really going to bother with.
I mean, shoot, like
That's a nice play design.
Yeah.
it is. It's
Yeah.
a nice play design, and the thing is that Justin hit Calvin on a similar pass earlier in the game, like going the other way.
Down there, yeah.
Going the other way. And so this is where, again, we go back to using the middle of the field. The Chargers use like what's called a too high shell, or whether it's cover 2, cover 4, whatever it is. They use a too high shell. It was like the 4th highest clip coming into the game. And by the way, that is called middle field open coverage.
Yeah.
The middle of the field was open, and so they used it. Now, they didn't use it a whole bunch in the first quarter, and so everybody was dogging them, saying, oh, this is just another Matt Canada offense.
Matt
no,
Canada.
it's not.
This is not the Matt Canada offense. We've been telling you that
It's not.
all along. We'd be remiss if we didn't bring up the defense before we take off. Wow. I'm going to share that Landon Roberts said to me, who, by the way, had a big sack in the game, as did everybody.
I mean,
He came up the middle, but
Yeah.
we've been saying,
he blew it up. Yeah.
we've been saying, all three of us all summer have been telling you that we want to see the inside linebackers come up the middle here. Patrick Queen with a monster hit that it motivated his teammates on his old buddy, Jeff
He
Dobbins.
loved. I talked with
Yes.
Patrick Queen. I love that. He loved.
Yes.
He's like, I got to make a play early, and he's like, I just read it perfectly, and I made a big hit, and he was really, really happy.
But if
about
we're
that.
talking about inside linebackers, we're making a mistake here, with all due respect, because as you wrote on our website this morning, that was our game preview, that T.J. Watt, Nick Herbig, and Alex Highsmith were going to be used as a 3 OLB. Highsmith goes down with the groin injury. We'll see how long that takes. Groins can be kind of pesky. But then Herbig goes in, gets more snaps and waiver, and all he does is make plays and make splash.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Tomlin and T.J. Watt talked about it during their press conferences. Both of them weren't surprised. I mean, this is a guy, he's in his second year. He's learning from one of the greatest outside linebackers in the game right now every day. I mean, he gets to learn from him every day. Watch how he goes through practice. Watch how he goes through his day-to-day. And, you know, we had asked T.J. Watt a couple questions about Nick Herbig and just how much he's come along.
Oh, it doesn't take much, man. He glows.
And TJ, after about 3 questions, TJ Watt was like, all right, I'm done answering questions about Herb. I'm sick of talking about him. Let's move on.
Good for him. And we'd also be remiss if we didn't let everybody know that this was the second consecutive week, which has to be a record, that somebody got a holding penalty for holding TJ.
It's crazy.
It's the dawn of a new era.
It's crazy that actually happened.
Guys,
Welcome
the
to League
Steelers are
Joel.
3-0. They're heading to Indianapolis to play the Colts next week. I don't know that there's anybody that they fear or that anybody should fear, because if there's one thing that still works in football, it's street ball.
Yeah.
It's gone right at people.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, they have laid the blueprint for what they want to do. No, the running game did not work early on, but they stuck with it. And
Despite not having Jalen.
despite not having Jalen Warren and some it might not look good for him, as DK put in our.
Yeah, he
in our
told me
Steelers
he's
game.
having an MRI on his knee. So, I mean, that could also be, nothing. But
Mike Tomlin did say he pulled him out of the game in the second half. Just didn't look like he was running smoothly.
there's a reason for it. Yeah.
Right. So, but this is what they want to do. They want to run the football. They want to utilize play action. And depending on what the team's doing, Atlanta, they weren't going to use the middle of the field. This team, they could use the middle of the field. They're going to find different ways to do it. But again, it goes back to Justin Fields. If he continues to play this way, I don't know how you go away from him.
Yeah, exactly. See you guys next week in Indianapolis. Make sure you check out the new Double Shot show tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. Also available on all of our channels.